Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Pitch Night Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I'm here with Rob and Donald, a.k.a. D.A. But listen, good morning to everybody in the chat. I see you. I got to get something off my chest because I'm really pissed off about something, right, with this fan base. Can we please stop with the fucking negativity all the time? The season hasn't even started. Stop claiming that it's over. Okay. Yes, Cole's going to be out for a couple of months. Yes, Judge is dealing with something that's not going to keep him out long term. LeMahieu is not washed up because he took a foul ball off his foot. Can we please stop? It's driving me absolutely fucking crazy. Right? And it's not even just the YouTube community. It's all over social media. It's all over when I talk to people at stores. Come on now, guys. Can't we just fucking enjoy that the season is here? We are going to have baseball in 9 days. 9 days. We get to enjoy the best sport that was ever fucking created. Okay? Can we just please enjoy it? Stop trying to minimize our excitement about the season. Okay? We understand. Look, injuries happen. It's happening all over baseball. It's not just the Yankees, okay? We focus on that because that's who we root for. But there are a lot of teams dealing with injuries. There are a lot of teams dealing with trying to figure out how to construct the roster. You don't hear this from Astros fans that lost 3/4 of their starting rotation. They're all going, all right, let's just see how the season plays out. It's unacceptable to me. I can't put up with it anymore. I really can't take it. It's got to stop. And yeah, no, MH. I might put him in. I don't want to incite violence on anybody. All right, that's never the answer. But I'm gonna fucking go off. I'm gonna yell at you, and I'm not gonna give you the time of day. So I don't know if you guys are in the same mindset that I am. I just can't take this negativity anymore. I want to enjoy that my holiday is coming in 9 days. Our holiday is in 9 days. Okay. Yeah, no, that cap is hot, pizza. I got you. Please, guys, tell me if am I going really? Am I overreacting to the negativity, or are they justified for it?
I mean, you see my hashtag under my name. I think I know who this is directed towards. So maybe he should just not watch the season. You know, he's already said it, I think, somewhere on social media. He's not going to watch. But yet, he's constantly in people's chats telling us how the season's over. So just do me a favor, do us all a favor, and don't watch. You know, I don't know how you can say before game one, or technically game one just was played this morning, but before the first Yankee game of the season has taken place, we're giving up. I mean, Garrett Cole's not out for the season, thankfully. Aaron Judge should be good to go. I mean, he seems to be in a good mood during practice and camp. They're just not going to risk anything. There's no need to risk it in spring training. He's going to be fine. It's Aaron Judge. Why are we acting like the season just fell apart? You know, it hasn't started yet. Anything can happen between April or late March and September. It's a long freaking season. It's 162 games for a reason. If you're going to give up before game one, please just don't watch. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch the Yankees game every chance I get. Every single game I can watch. Innings 1 through 9, I'm going to watch. Win or lose. Whether I'm happy about it or mad about it, I'm going to watch. But if you're going to give up before the season even starts, just don't watch. That's all I ask. Guys, this negativity is really ridiculous right now. And I know this really was going towards a chat in NFE's stream yesterday. But it's just really kind of like one or two people that have been like overly negative, and I just don't watch. That's all I'm going to say.
DA?
I'm not going to tell fans how to fan. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm worried about a number of topics. I'm worried about the fact that we don't have a backup to DJ LeMahieu. We don't really have a backup at shortstop right now. That is very real. That is not made up. It's real. So that's something that I'm concerned about. I am concerned about the rotation. I think we definitely don't have a fifth starter, and it's questionable whether we have a fourth starter. That's real as well. So there are some spots here that I am concerned about. Now that doesn't mean that I'm giving up on the season by any stretch of the imagination because I was very optimistic, and I still am. But um, it shows that the Yankees' depth isn't as great as we hoped it was because DJ LeMahieu with his foot injury, with opening day a little bit up in the air. I don't know who's going to play third base. Because it can't be Smith, and I don't think it's going to be Jeter Downs either. So, and I don't want it to be Oswaldo Cabrera because that dude's looking pretty rough around the edges right now. So, um, I mean, these are all very real concerns. So anybody who wants to air these concerns, you have every right to do so because I'm a little surprised that this wasn't addressed in the offseason. Cashman kept saying it's not pencils down, but it kind of looked like pencils down because we could have added Gio Urshela. We could have done something. It's a little weird. I'm a little concerned, but again, the good news is, Brian, from what we understand, Garrett Cole should be back by June, July, something like that, probably closer to July. And the good news is Luis Gil looks like he's got something. So maybe he's someone that you could add to as the fifth starter. So we don't know what these prospects can add. It's a little bit of an unknown quantity. There's every chance that this unknown quantity could be like, hey, we don't even need a freaking fourth starter. We got Luis Gil and he's balling. So there's every chance of that. So it definitely no need to be overly negative. But if someone wants to air these concerns about the roster going into opening day and the fact that injuries still seem to be a very prevalent issue within the New York Yankee organization, then yes, I'm absolutely happy to have that conversation because whoever believes that is right. I think it is. There is an injury issue within the Yankees. I don't trust our medical staff. I never have, and that's just the fact of it. So yeah, I'm not going to tell fans how to fan. Like, if you guys want to be pissed off, be pissed off. But there's still every chance of it being a very, very, very positive season. And I still believe that there's a World Series caliber team here, but we still need to augment this team. This team needs additions fairly promptly.
Yeah, I'm not trying to diminish concerns. We talk about them all the time. It's the overly. It doesn't matter. If it's you have these fans. I call them. The way I always refer to it. These are I'm talking to the fans that a pitcher could throw a perfect game and they'll still find a way to critique a pitch or two that the pitcher threw. It's there was a 10 pitch at bat. Well, it really wasn't that great of a an outing because he was struggling. To get a couple of batters out, like those type of fans. It doesn't matter what they do; they're going to go out of their way to find the negative. Those are the ones that are really getting under my skin. All right, and we've never told anybody you can't have concerns, you can't voice your opinions. It's have the debate about it. Be open to the other side. And they don't want to be open to the other side. They don't want to be open to the optimism. They just want to constantly, anybody that's having a good day and in a good mood about baseball coming back, they want to find that they go out, well, how could you be so optimistic about the season? You don't have Judge, and Judge hasn't been hitting. LeMahieu is hurt. You don't have our ace for 2 months. Okay. Can we see how the games play out? Can we see how they play out? Can we at least have a week to let us have opening day? Then you want to bitch and moan all you want. I don't give a shit. I stop trying to. It's almost like I feel like they're personally going out of the way to ruin my enjoyment of it.
Oh, it's not an attack. Oh,
It's a personal attack on me.
you're
That's
taking it
not a
personally.
personal.
But no, here's the thing though. It's different to be bringing up concerns like Donald just did, because those are legitimate concerns.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on this rotation without Garrett Cole by any stretch. I think some of these young guys can handle the job, but what if they don't? There's always that concern. I've been saying all offseason, even before the Cole injury, they should add another starter. So is Donald, so is Uncle Tat, so is 95% of our chat. So it's not like we weren't raising these concerns only after the Cole injury. No, it was before that injury. I still think they should have added Gio Urshela before DJ's injury, before Peraza's injury. I was saying they should go look for another infield bat just because there were questions about Cabrera and even Peraza as well. What was his role going to be? So these are all questions that we've already raised. Now it's a little more of an issue because of Cole's injury, because what's the status of DJ LeMahieu? We don't know. Hopefully they're okay. We know that Cole will be back in a few months. We know that. It's a best case scenario with him. What's the issue with DJ until we find out for sure? Not even Aaron Boone knows yet. He said yesterday there was some good news, but more than likely it's looking like salute for the old guy. Yeah, salute Sunil. But no, we just don't know what the status of DJ is going to be. So until we find out, look, it's different to bring up concerns, but to then be like season's over, that's to me, that's just ridiculous. Then that's when I'm going to tell you you're being a little bit overreactive, because the season's not over. The season hasn't started yet. So let's just see how things go. Let's see if in the next week, maybe they do add a Josh Harrison off the bench or a Donovan Solano who's still sitting out there in free agency. Maybe they do reignite talks with Montgomery, who could be looking for a team right now, because there's a week to go, and not even looking at it as a consolation prize at this point. The Astros like, we didn't get Snell. We don't want Monty. He might have to sign for pennies compared to what he wanted at this point just to get on a roster. Maybe the Yankees go back in that direction. I don't know. There are options still out there. We have options internally. Has the depth taken a hit? Absolutely. But until we see what the status is of all these guys, then we don't know yet. But I'm saying you can bring up these issues. We can have conversations about it, because we've been having conversations about it for 4 months now. But to tell me before game 1 of 162 has been played, the season's over, I am going to tell you had a fan. I'm just going to say, don't watch. You're going to save yourself some stress. That's all I'm saying. You're going to save yourself. I'm going to watch. I don't care. But if you're thinking the season's over, just don't watch. Save yourself the stress. And then at the end of the season, if they blow chunks, you can say, I told you so. But hey, you didn't watch, so you didn't have the stress added to it. So I mean, that's all I got to say. I'm still going to watch. I still think this team's very good, and I still think they have a chance to be very, very good, and they can still add to this team with the week to go. So let's just hold off on the negativity. Let's be excited for baseball. We still have a very good team, even without Garrett Cole. And when we get him back, it's going to be even better. Rodon looks great. There's a positive. Carlos Rodon looks fantastic. There's a positive. Will Warren bounced back very nicely, although he wouldn't have been able to come back in a regular season game, but he did bounce back after that bad first inning. Luis Heel looks amazing. I understand there's an innings limit with him. I get that, but he does look very, very good. There are things to be positive about. There are things to be concerned about, as there is every single season. So those are the topics we can have. But if we want to go to a positive light, let's talk about Rodon.
No, I like what Rodon's been doing. You know, this is we're seeing the progress of him having a full spring training. You know, and it's giving it's giving you optimism going into the season that okay, we may not have Cole, but we have Rodon. You know, and they're two different caliber players. I understand that, but you are going to have. He's not going to have the season like he did last year. You know, and that's really all we were hoping for. Just don't have a repeat flop season. Stay healthy, stay effective. You know, let's get deep into the game. Let's try to take innings away from the bullpen. And it seems like Rodon's on track to be, to be able to do that for us.
Rodon's the key to the offseason. He was the key to the starting rotation. And it wasn't even Garrett Cole Garrett Cole's the one person that couldn't get hurt, and he did get hurt, so I understand that injury. But uh, the actual key to our rotation was always Rodon, because this rotation can't survive with just one pitcher. They needed a 1B. Rodon has to be that 1B, especially because the Yankees didn't acquire that 1B in the offseason, which we all kind of hoped they would. So that adds added incentive for Rodon to go and show what he's all about. And so far, the spring he has, that last start was remarkable. That was vintage Rodon. So that's a great sign. It looks like he's fully healthy, and it looks like he's turning the corner. Aaron Boone's favorite term, and that's a great sign. So hey, if he can give us what we need, then this rotation should be okay. Um, my main concern is that we're only 3 weeks in the spring, and we're already starting to see some injuries creep in
Yeah.
that the Yankees really can't afford to have. And that's what the season comes down to. The team, as is great. Could very well win a World Series, but um, you have to plan for 162, and we're starting to get injuries after 3 weeks of spring. Worries me for sure. But back to Rodon, looks fantastic.
Yeah, no, look, are the injuries a concern? Absolutely. It's not like, I mean, nobody celebrates anybody getting hurt. Nobody celebrates anybody having a tough spring. Nobody wants to go. Not one player is wants to go into the season as feeling or looking mediocre. They want to play it out. They want to play every game. It's Rodon's, but like we said, and you just said it again before, Rodon was the key to the rotation when Cole was also healthy, because you needed that 1-2 punch. The fact that Rodon is still there to give you a punch, to be effective, you have to feel better than you did a week ago when the news from Cole came down that, all right, we can weather the storm. We can survive this. I think we have the roster too, the pitching roster. Now, as far as with third base and a backup shortstop, yeah, that's definitely a question that needs to be answered by the Yankees, and they have 9 days to do it.
I mean, yeah, maybe they bring in an arm like Lorenzen or even Montgomery. Maybe they make a trade with one of these 17 catchers we have. Rourke Vet, you can package him with somebody to get a bullpen arm or even a bench piece at this point. You can kind of trade depth for depth. There are options out there. They could certainly do it. Maybe they give the job to Caleb Durbin, who's looked pretty good this spring. Maybe he can play some third base. He's got some speed, got some contact, so he could play his way onto this team. Jahmai Jones has played pretty well. I think Cabrera is making this team simply out of necessity right now. Had there been no injuries, he probably wouldn't. But right now, I don't think there's any other choice besides Durbin. I don't really trust Kevin Smith. I don't trust Jeter Downs. I don't know if these guys are really the answer. I'm hoping DJ's thing is just a couple of days and he'll be good to go by opening day, or at least maybe the first few days of the season he misses, but we'll have to wait and see there. I'm just going to assume he's going on IL because that's usually how this goes anyway. But they got to sign somebody. And I would feel a lot more comfortable with Donovan Solano in this lineup right now than I would with Kevin Smith or even one of those younger guys. I don't think Vivas is ready. He was sent to AAA. I don't know if they want to give that shot to Durbin or Jahmai Jones, although Jones has had a good spring, so maybe he gets the nod. But I would feel a lot more comfortable with the veteran bat just because this offense needs to be good with the loss of Garrett Cole. After Stroman and Rodon, it's kind of shaky out there. We don't know what Will Warren's going to bring as the fifth starter. He's probably going to get the fifth starter spot, but what if he has a Brito-like start? Remember last year, Brito was good for 2 starts, then he got absolutely rocked, and people are like, oh, maybe he's not as good as we thought. And that just comes with the territory of being a young starter. So we have to prepare for that stuff. We're going to have to outslug our way to some victories without Garrett Cole. Whether it's 2 months or 3, we're going to have to outslug our way to some victories. We have the offense to do it. It just has to stay healthy. But there are ways to improve this team right now, which usually isn't the case this late in the offseason. But they have some pieces they can move, and they have some guys they can still sign. So let's see what they do. But I don't know what the answer is, but there are ways to solve it.
I'm shocked that Cashman didn't address it as soon as Peraza turned out that he was hurt for a couple months minimum. I'm shocked that we didn't address the middle infield situation more urgently because he was our backup, and now I don't know who it is. I'm a little surprised that the Yankees left it to a situation like Smith. Smith looks garbage. He looks like trash. He looks trash on top of trash. He's horrible. We can't have him. Like Jeter Downs, not really seeing anything there. I like the name though. And so yeah, I don't love our backup middle infield options. It's not really what I would expect from a Yankee organization to have such a lack of ready-made depth there, especially knowing that DJ LeMahieu has had foot concerns and he's climbing up there in age. You want someone that you can trust to come in once a week and give him a break. So they don't have that, and I'm shocked the Yankees haven't addressed that. And it's so yeah, I am quite concerned about the depth there infield. Now, as for the rotation, though, I go with Luis Gil because I like the upside. I like the fact that Luis Gil has number one, number two stuff, right? It's just a matter of location with him and health, and working on his third pitch. But his top two pitches, they're ace caliber stuff, right? He's got the upside there. He's got lights out stuff, and that's what I love. Will Warren doesn't have that. His stuff tops off as like a number four starter kind of stuff. It's just very kind of middle of the road. There's nothing really. There's a curveball there that's kind of hangs a little bit at times. Fastballs, 92, 93. Nothing really that blows me away. I have to be honest. I'm not overly blown away by Will Warren. I would prefer with the upside with Luis Gil. I think he's got I think he's got a little bit more about him. I kind of like the fact that he's got strikeout stuff. That's my personal preference, but I want to do a little bit more like studying on Will Warren, a little bit more film on him. But I think he tops out more as a fourth or fifth starter. And if that's his upside, then I prefer someone that has the upside of a Luis Gil, where he has the upside of being a number three starter. I think he's got a higher upside. It's just a matter of health and location with him.
Yeah, and real quick, we see all the comments in the chat. Well, I'm reading them as they scroll through. Appreciate every single one of you. I want to say real quick, all right, Spencer, what's going on? If you do follow Spencer on Twitter, or if not, why don't you? He's gonna be very mad at me right now for saying this, but go onto his Twitter page, and he has a video out with a request for the Yankees to help with the accommodations so he can continue his streak of going to opening day. So if you can, just go quote tweet him and make sure you at the Yankees and the Yankees PR department. And let's see if we can get this possible for him. He deserves it. And it's a tradition that he's had the last couple of years with his daughter. And I really want them to make this work for him. So let's try to get the Yankees' attention and see if they can help Spencer around the stadium as he is working on getting healthy. So with that being that. So sorry, Spencer. You could be mad at me. Call me later and yell at me for calling you out. But you deserve it. As far as with the addressing the injuries, okay, because you made a good point. They should have done something as soon as Peraza went down, or Peraza was showing there was an issue. I think you're absolutely right in that. And it did that's where it's concerning with the Yankees. That's where they were calculated all season up to that point. Like they did not really have a true plan, backup plan for having certain guys go down. We all thought the absence of depth was going to be at first base which it is now with DJ hurt, because now who are you going to use to give Rizzo a day off?
Great point.
So they have to get on top of that. They have to bring somebody in. You call somebody up, make a trade. You got to do something. Rob said before, but you got 18 catches that we can move. That are just sitting there, just riding in the minor leagues without a spot. Use them. Catching depth is something that's a very valuable commodity, and the Yankees have it in spades. Use it. Go get somebody. It has to be done. They need to have somebody that's going to play. Look, if they have to use Cabrera, say best case scenario, LeMahieu is just gonna, he might, maybe miss the first week of the season. Until the bruising settles down. A week with Cabrera at third is not going to derail the season. But they still have to be proactive with getting depth.
So what I believe is going to happen is the Yankees are relying on the fact that once we get towards the end of spring, veterans will shake loose from certain camps and from certain rosters. And that's what the Yankees are going to bank on. That's what they're going to pounce on. So I think you'll probably see quite a lot of movement, actually, towards the last couple of days of spring training. As I say, I don't think the Yankees are feeling much urgency as of right now, because they're just meaningless games at the moment. It kind of looks like the Yankees are just playing them out. 90% of the roster is secure anyway. It's only the last couple spots. So keep an eye out for the last couple of days of spring. Veterans will shake loose from certain contracts and certain rosters that might have an overabundance of certain positions. Guys will shake loose from teams that aren't contending, and then the Yankees, I expect, will start jumping on these right now. But I don't understand why the Yankees weren't a little bit more aggressive during the winter when a lot of these options were actually available. I don't understand waiting right through spring to see what happens. It's a little reactionary for me, and it's not proactive. That was a complaint I've always had with this front office. The spring training is a terrible time to make acquisitions because you're not going to get difference makers. This offseason has actually been an anomaly where you've had a Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Dylan Cease that have all been available, whether free agency or trade, right through spring training. That never happens. Never, ever happens. So I'm a little surprised that the Yankees didn't take advantage of one of those three options that have become available, considering the problems that we've had with the rotation. But we'd have to wait and see. Maybe something might shake free for us that makes sense in the last couple of days of spring training. We can only hope.
Do you think that I'm looking at the names that Sunil's comment here. Rizzo at third base. Why?
No.
That makes zero sense. In his early days as a Cub, you know how long ago that was? And we already have an issue on top of third base, having depth issues at first. You want to move your premier first baseman and put him out of position he's barely played in his career. You missed the mark on that one. I do also want to bring up this comment here from Joe. Every team is going to have pitching injuries. Can't do much about it besides loading up on depth. We really don't, don't have top prospects for third, is what he meant to say in there. First base at AAA, they have Rice as a catcher. Well, Ben Rice is an option for first base depth. What do you think about him getting, starting the clock early on him?
He's not really played for first base, though. They put him at catcher in the breakout game. That tells me they view him as more of a catcher long term than first base. Because if they would have wanted him at first base, they would have put him at first, and they would have had Ramirez catch. So I don't know what their plan is for Ben Rice. And until he plays more first base, I'm not just going to thrust him into the spot. Same thing with Austin Wells. Austin Wells has been catching almost every day since he was called up last year and during the spring. I'm not moving him to first base.
I'm
He's
doing a damn good job of it too.
Yeah, he's doing
Stanley,
fantastic. I'm not
job.
moving him either. So until I see Ben Rice actually play first base and play it well, that's why I think he needs to get work there this season in AAA and wherever he's going to play. And the same goes for a guy like Jones. Maybe he plays a little first base. We saw Rumfield have a good breakout game, but he's only a AA right now, so he's not really there yet. And none of these kids are ready yet. None of these infield prospects are ready yet. Vivas is the closest one, and he's not ready yet. So we have to wait at least another couple of years for guys like Lombard and Arias to get here, and Vivas will be ready at that point, Cerna, but they're still a couple of years away. Peraza's injury really is derailing a lot. And had he not gotten hurt, we're not having this conversation right now because he'd be the third baseman penciled in opening day, and we'd be like, all right, we got our wish. So his injury and now with DJ's foot, it's all kind of happening at the worst possible time, of course, with still a few days to go. I think they need to sign a veteran bat. Now, Donald's right. Players are going to get cut from these spring teams, and the Yankees could jump on one of them, or they could just go right now and get Solano. They could go get Harrison, who was just cut. There are options out there, so let's just see what they do. We got 9 days. Something is probably going to happen in the next week or so.
Yeah, and CWE, the Peraza should have been, absolutely for third base. And we've said it, and I've said it, collectively we have. Look, the mistake that they made with Peraza is announcing DJ as the starting third baseman. It was too early in the offseason to start automatically handing out, the starting position for the infield, and it's not like you're going to bench LeMahieu, for Peraza. It all depends, but they could have at least let the spring play out. Unfortunately, both of them are out right now, but that was one of those head scratches in the off season of why so early they were like, yeah, DJ's our third baseman, but it also they have to be calculated again of how they address this issue, because you do not want to just thrust somebody into the lineup as well and disrupt a strong lineup. Because even if we don't have Judge for a couple of days in the season, last year it would have been a complete disaster, but we have Soto this year. So we still have that threat in the lineup. It's not the threat of Judge and Soto. We might have to start the season with just Soto, but it's better than not having either one of them.
Injuries are going to happen. That's just how it works. And yeah, Joan Hardman's still hurt. I think he's going to be ready summer or sometime around midseason. So that's another guy that was having a great year in the minors last year, but injuries do occur, and he was raking. So I wish he was an option, but again, they got to add a veteran bat just to have one. Even with the healthy DJ, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with Donovan Solano on this bench. I don't trust the guys we have in the system right now. At least the minor league pickups we got, the guys like the Kevin Smiths of the world and all them. So we'll see what they do. And yeah, Chaparro being gone now too, that would have been an option.
Yeah,
because that guy had a big bat. He could have been in the lineup right now. So at least playing. Well, no, because he'd be more of a DH anyway. So they wouldn't think they'd put him at third. I don't know. I really don't know who's starting. Probably Cabrera if DJ's hurt, which again, Cabrera's been a little bit better as the spring has gone on, but it's still not encouraging. But he might be the best option right now, which is why they need to go out and make a move. And they've needed to go out.
We're still under the assumption that LeMahieu will be okay opening day.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Although
that's the best case.
Yeah, it's just that Aaron Boone said that he wasn't 100% sure, and that always worries us. But I think the tests came back all okay, so I think there's a very good chance that LeMahieu will be okay. They still need a good backup, though, a good quality backup, because I don't think we're going to see Peraza for a while. I don't think he's anywhere near imminent. Like, that's quite a serious shoulder issue that he's got there. So it's a shame for him, because that's probably killed his chances of being a big part of the Yankees in the future. I think he's going to be trade fodder once he's healthy. I think this was his shot, and I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him because this was his shot. If he had a good spring, he would have cemented himself as the main utility guy. And if he did well, then you're probably looking at him replacing Gleyber Torres at second base next year. I think that's shot now. But we will see what happens. We will see what happens. But they definitely need a backup. I love Peraza. It's a shame that he got hurt, but that's just what happens. That's just the name of the game, unfortunately. Don't love Oswaldo Cabrera. It's a shame. I think we got that little moment there. He had a little Jeremy Lin couple months where he just balled out, and it took us all by surprise. And he helped the Yankees achieve success, but it's just kind of tailed off after that. He's never taken that step forward, and it's a shame.
Maybe this is his shot now. It doesn't help. It doesn't help that last year he was getting sent up and down like every other day. He was on the roster, then he was in Scranton. And he never really got a chance to get into a rhythm, which doesn't help, but he wasn't very good. However, you are seeing some slight improvements now as the spring goes on, and he does play everywhere. They've been playing him at first base this spring. They're playing him at third. They're playing him at short. He plays the outfield. So that's why I think he's a lock to make the roster, simply because we don't have anybody else that does that. And yeah, third baseman being Smith, FJ, I don't want that. I'd rather give the job to Durbin if that's the case. I'd rather just see what Caleb Durbin can do. If we're going to give it to any one of those guys, just give it to the younger guy with upside. I don't know what Kevin Smith brings to the table. Jahmai Jones, maybe. And CWE, I don't think we're talking about trading for a big guy. We're not like to say, oh, let's go trade for Arenado or something. We're not going to go trade for a huge name. We're just looking for a depth piece. So no one's going to be getting Spencer Jones for a depth piece. I don't think we have to worry about that.
There was a player that I saw on social media that was, some fans were talking about that's all the way out in Oakland. And he's having actually a pretty decent spring. What about trying to trade back for Andujar?
He was a bad third baseman. The whole point was he had to move him to left field because he couldn't play third base. I don't think we want that. We might as well just kept IKF if that's the case.
Well, or make the trade for Urshela. Get him in. They got to do. I want somebody that
opportunity earlier. But to be fair to Kevin Smith, Clerks was a very good movie.
Clerks is a classic, dude. I love that movie. When they do that little shimmy walk,
backup shortstop.
just to keep the laughs going a little bit. When he does that little shimmy walk, in the movie, I used to do that when I was at the store with my wife. I would do that walking up and down the supermarket, and she would just turn and walk away from me.
I love it.
One of the 6 movies Tats has actually watched.
Yes,
I know. I'm like, wow, Tats heard of it.
But no, look, I don't know what the actual plan is going to be for third base. I mean, there are names out there. I don't even know how to. I think it's going to either be Durbin or who's the other one I mentioned? His name just slipped my head. Jahmai Jones. I think it's going to be one of those two guys. They're going to try to wait it out and see how the progress on DJ goes.
Yeah, until we have a clearer picture of DJ's injury, then I don't think they're going to act. But maybe in the next couple of days, they'll find out more. If he's good to go, they're probably not going to do much. But I still think they should explore a veteran bat. But that's just me.
And what's everyone's thought on the fact that Blake Snell is signed for the San Francisco Giants on a 2-year deal? Me and Rob were certainly hoping that we would land Blake Snell. How are you feeling, Rob?
Well, if I was Blake Snell, I'd be really looking for a new agent at this point, considering I was told to turn down $150 million and ended up signing for 62. I'd be pretty upset. I mean, he got paid a good amount for one season. He probably will opt out. But the fact that he wanted $270 and ended up signing for $262 is very telling. about how this offseason has gone for the Boris clients, and there's a reason why there's apparently a mutiny getting formed in the MLBPA because a lot of these players are pissed about the way Boris has been handling business, and that's never a good sign because we've been talking about another lockout in the next couple of years when the CBA goes down. And if there's a mutiny forming within the PA, imagine what's going to happen when we get to the freaking negotiations for the CBA. I think this is bad news all around. They're just hoping that his guys would have gotten paid and we wouldn't have this issue right now. But, man, Snell fits in San Francisco. They've had a good offseason. The fact that they were able to get him this late, they got him, they got Lee, they got Soler, Chapman. They picked up Jordan Hicks. They're going to turn him into a starter. They even traded for Robbie Ray. And they've had a pretty eventful offseason. So
we'll did pretty well.
Yeah,
they got to stay competitive.
They're another team that sneakily had a pretty solid offseason. I think them and Kansas City are the teams that really made significant, improvements to their team that really didn't get talked about because they're not, at the top of the order.
I agree.
But Spencer's comment, he's texted me some of the comments because it's just easier through that way. He said the only good news about Blake Snell is that he signed in the National League West. At least we don't have to worry about him in the American League. And I think the fact that I think the Astros lost bigger than anybody not getting Snell because they're the ones that need help the most with their rotation.
Yeah, it was the fact that he was mentioned, it came out of left field anyway. I'm very relieved he didn't turn out in the Astros. But, remember the Giants owner said that they weren't making any more moves. They were done. Like, they were completely done, he said. And then they went and signed Blake Snell.
Fell into their lap. That was the term we were all talking about. And I don't know what the hell Sunil's talking about. Then again, when did we ever know what Sunil's talking about?
Did Blake Snell ever really want to be a Yankee, though? Because maybe it's not just Boris. Maybe the fact that Blake Snell just didn't want to be a Yankee that much.
It seems like he always wanted the West Coast, and if he was going to go back to the East, he would have to sign for more money, which is why he turned down 150. But the fact that it's March, what's say the 20th, if it was, and he signed on the 18th, the fact that it took him till March 18th to get an actual good offer that he was willing to take tells everyone what they need to know about his market. And he was outpriced by his agent, which we were talking about all off season. And this is what he had to sign for. Astros, even with their rotation issue, said, no, we're not giving you $33 million or whatever he was asking for. That should tell you there are concerns with Snell. I still would have took him on this team in a New York minute, but there are teams out there that are very concerned about what he will do post Cy Young season because the last time he won a Cy Young, he wasn't good the following season. But even the Astros bought to that, even for 1 year. I thought it was very, very surprising. But hey, there's still another pitcher out there that needs to get signed, and I don't know why the Angels haven't signed Montgomery yet or JD Martinez. Those are two guys that should be Angels right now if they want to compete any sort of bit in that West and give Mike Trout a reason to want to stay.
They're toast.
Why are they not signing these players?
The Angels are toast.
Yeah, it seems like nobody, as much as we would have welcomed the depth, everybody in the chat is kind of glad that the Yankees did not get him. I think a big part of that is his agent, and everybody in the, we've talked about it, and Spencer is saying that the innings, the fact that he's going to put more pressure on the bullpen to pick up some of the innings is an issue, and why fans are glad that we kind of they think we dodged.
Let me just say one thing though, right? It's easy to say that now in March, right? But if Nestor Cortez blows a tire and gives up 4 runs in the first inning of opening day, and Blake Snell in his first start pitches 6 innings and gives up 1 run, everyone's going to be like, why didn't
Oh, absolutely.
So it's very easy to say this now. Be careful what you wish for, guys. Oh, well, he's trash anyway. He won the Cy Young for a reason. He won the Cy Young for a reason. So I'm not buying any of the BS, guys, all right? I know that he didn't want to be a Yankee that much. Doesn't diminish how good he is, and it doesn't diminish the fact the Yankees still desperately need a starter. So I'm not buying any of the crap. Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. Because I said the other day, look, I'm all for giving the young guys a shot at the bottom of the rotation, but if they struggle, I do not want to see one single complaint from people in whether it's from our chat or on social media that have been clamoring for, oh, it has to go to a young guy. Give the kids a shot. Give the kids a shot. We don't need Snell. We don't need this guy. We don't need Cease. We didn't need these guys. If those kids, and I don't want them to, but if those young guys have rough starts, be patient with them because you got your wish. I wanted Warren too. I'm perfectly fine with Will Warren getting the shot, but I also would much rather have the veteran arm in a situation where we're all in. This is a must-win season. I feel a lot more comfortable with Blake Snell than I would with Will Warren. It has nothing to do with what I feel about Will Warren. It's just that thrusting him into the fire right now, I feel like is a risk, especially when you're trying to quote unquote replace Garrett Cole. You're not replacing Garrett Cole, but whoever's taken that rotation spot kind of is in a sense because that's the name you're taking over for. It's a tough task to give that to a Luis Heel or a Will Warren. I think they'll be okay, but I'm saying if they have some blow up starts, which they will, it happens to everybody in baseball, not even the good ones. Don't start saying they should have got a veteran pitcher because me and Donald have been talking for months. Like, go get Blake Snell. He's sitting right there. Go trade for Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease may be a number 4 starter to some people out there, but to me, he was the best guy you could have gotten in a trade that wasn't named Corbin Burns. And they didn't do it. I understand it, but doesn't change the fact that we could still use another starter right now.
What's kind of frustrating is I know the argument right now is that, oh, well, they asked for Spencer Jones and that was a no deal. We could have had him without giving up Spencer Jones in the winter if we gave up the package of Will Warren and Peraza and a couple of others. That offer was on the table because we've read an update that was the names that were being discussed heavily. But the Yankees passed. The Yankees waited it out, and then suddenly the Rangers got involved, and suddenly the other teams got involved, and then before you know it, we lost the chance of trading for Dylan Cease, and because once other teams got involved, then they could afford to ask for Spencer Jones and stuff like that to up the offer. But before then, Spencer Jones wasn't on the table, so we missed that chance, guys. I'm just saying it. We missed that chance.
No, look, we've missed that. We can go back years and point out, missed opportunities on guys. Seriously, it goes all the way back. It's hard, it's easy now. After the Yamamoto thing, I made the Kevin O'Leary joke. All right, you're dead to me. We gave Snell multiple opportunities to take a contract. His agent stupidly talked him out of wanting to come here. So you know what? Snell, you got to be dead to me too, because I can't dwell on guys. I'm not going to be all up in arms because somebody didn't want to come here. When the team that I'm rooting for is making the effort, we put a contract in for Yamamoto, denied. We put an offer in for Snell, denied. We tried making a trade for Cease, nobody bit. So it's not that if they were just sitting pat and just waiting for teams to call them, I could get on Cashman's case and Hal's case going, what are you doing? But if they're trying to make improvements. Like I said, you can't force them to sign the paper. You can't force them to sign for the trade. You can't force them to sign a free agent. It's hard to say that. Did they put enough effort in? That could be in question, but you have to admit they put the effort in to get guys.
So John Heyman, sorry, just to jump in. John Heyman says that that Scott Boras called the Yankees and tried to get them involved again with Blake Snell before he signed with the Giants, but they couldn't make the money and the finances work. Apparently, I read bullshit in that because, well, It could be true, and that in which case the Yankees didn't want to pay the tax, right? Which is possible. I hope that's not the case. I really do. But if you can't make the finances work, I don't understand. The Yankees have the money; they can afford it. So either they didn't believe he was worth it, or he just didn't want to go to the Yankees, or the Yankees just didn't want to sign him. I just don't see how they couldn't make the mathematics work. I mean,
Well,
you know what I
apparently
mean?
they want to go over 30 million. At least that's what Nightingale is saying.
That's what
'cause
was reported. Yeah.
yeah, they didn't want to re-engage if it was over $30 million. So, I mean,
Right.
look, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like 33 million for 1 year, Blake Snell probably isn't worth it when you do consider the IFA money and the picks at that point. For 1 year, probably not the case. If you got Snell for like 3 years minimum, then you probably go ahead and make that move. But Montgomery's out there. He won't cost you any of that. He'll cost you money, yeah, but he won't cost you IFA money or draft picks. Maybe you get him for less right now because clearly nobody wants Montgomery for his price. He just saw the better pitcher signed for less money than he wanted. Maybe Montgomery's price plummets a little bit and the Yankees could pounce there. It won't cost them IFA money. It will cost them a lot in tax, but if you get him for like 26 million, that's going to be obviously be doubled. We know that. We know how it works. We've known how it works for months, but
Yeah.
it'd be a lot less of a cost considering you won't have to give up the picks and the IFA money. And he's the best option out there right now. Plus, you're familiar with him. I don't think there's bad blood. Everyone keeps saying that the Yankees have to apologize. When several times I've noted that Montgomery himself said there's no bad blood between him and the Yankees.
Yeah, it was just business.
Yeah, and Brian Cashman was a guy that did not want to move him. He said that right after the trade, it was such a tough thing to have to do. And you know that locker room would welcome him back in a heartbeat. They would be so happy to see him back. Like I said last week, Brian Cashman was able to quickly make amends with Stroman, who was publicly crapping on the guy, and they laughed about it and joked about it. You don't think that he can quickly come up to Jordan and be like, hey, man, for what it's worth, sorry. And he'd be like, oh, don't worry about it. Let's go win. I'm sure that's exactly how it goes. Anyone who thinks there's so much bad blood, Randy Miller, I think they're looking far into it. When the player himself said, no, there's no bad blood.
But unfortunately, I've not heard Montgomery's name linked with the Yankees.
You haven't heard him link with anybody.
Yeah. Boston
true,
and Texas.
Boston, maybe. I think his name is supposed to around.
It surprises me that we haven't really heard anything.
Yeah.
It just seems like. And also, just to jump on a comment from TC, says the Yankees will make a big time deal at the deadline for a pitcher. A lot of the great arms have already come and gone. So I'm not sure who you're expecting to become available and at the deadline. I mean, we've already seen Burns off the table, Snell off the table, Dylan Cease off the table. Those are the ones that were rolling off the tongue as to ready-made options that we can go and acquire. I'm not sure, like the other big name that you're hoping is going to become available at the deadline. I mean, anything can happen, I suppose, but relying on that is always kind of foolhardy, and because you don't know what anything can happen, any variable can happen. Remember that was what we kept being told by Yankee fans during the season. Oh, they're going to get a left fielder at the trade deadline. It'll be fine. They'll get that at the deadline. And by the time we reached the deadline, we were screwed. And also Bellinger wasn't made available for a trade. So when you keep saying, oh, we'll be fine, we'll wait to the deadline, you don't know what's going to happen between now and the deadline. A lot can happen. So and also we don't know if the Yankees really want to give up any further packages, because they seem really reticent to make any trades right now. That's going to cost significant capital with the names that we're developing, because we didn't give up the names that we all would have for Dylan Cease. So then I don't really know what they're going to do. Yeah. It makes it all the more absurd that we're not interested in our free agents, like in Montgomery, for instance.
Yeah, Montgomery, like we've said, it's just money. The one thing I'm hoping for Kansas City to actually dominate that division with the moves they made. This way, you might be able to force Cleveland's hand to move Bieber or McKenzie, and try to steal one of their key guys. You need a team to just because the fact that they also with this expanded playoffs also completely screws up the trade deadline because everybody still feels like they're in it. Because teams, you never know what your second half is going to be. So it's going to come down. That's why I've been saying the free agent market is where you have to make your biggest moves. You can make adjustments with the trade deadline, but you can't rely on it anymore. It's not like it used to be. And also, you're going to start to also see I know Rich drew out there that the 2025 free agents is going to be, have an abundance of pitching. But what's the quality of the pitching that you're getting? Because teams are locking up their talent younger and younger and more frequently. You're going to start seeing the free agent pool kind of not be great. You're going to start seeing unless it's like a big superstar like a Soto. You're not going to see those guys reach free agency. They're getting locked up younger and younger. Look at what the Braves are doing. And their players aren't complaining about it. So it's one of those you're gonna start. You have to. We may have to accept the fact that moves are not going to come as I want to say easy for the Yankees as they used to be. It used to be if we had our sights on somebody, we got them. And we've seen this offseason that's not the case.
Well, next year's free agent class outside of Burns and I think Max Fried is available, but I don't see Atlanta letting him walk.
No,
They
I love
re-sign
Max Fried. I
they
love him.
re-sign everybody though,
Yeah.
so they probably bring him back. Outside of Burns, is there really like a legitimate ace out there? Because the list will say Garrett Cole, but he's opting out. The Yankees will just add the 10th year, so he's not going to be available. Is there anyone out there that's like outside of those two names that's like you got to bring this guy in? So might as well just get Montgomery now and get it over with. Because outside of spending on Soto next year, I don't think they're going to do too much.
Yeah.
Next year, the goal is to bring back Juan Soto and maybe make a couple of moves here and there. Maybe you re-sign Clay Holmes if he's really good. Snell will be back on the market. But if they didn't sign him this year, I don't think they're going to sign him next year. Outside of that, there's really not great names. I mean, maybe they go all in for Corbin Burns, but at what cost? Maybe they go in for Max Fried, but again, does Atlanta let him walk? I don't know. We'll see. They could
Atlanta,
get both.
So I'd err on the side of they are not letting him go anywhere. They're going to work something out.
No, probably not. They re-sign all their guys. So
yeah.
Again, I don't know what the case is going to be. I just think that right now, if you wait till the deadline, you could be setting yourself up for a disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we waited till the deadline last year.
That's what we did last year.
We didn't get a left fielder, and we still didn't get a left fielder. So I think they need to act now. There's still a really good pitcher that you're familiar with sitting in the market. Maybe go call them up. If not, roll with the kids. But I'm just saying, you got to be patient with them, which is a tough ask in a season where you've deemed all in and you kind of have to win. And if you don't win a World Series, you're going to have to at least get there or get within, like the bare minimum I'd accept to say this season was a success would be like a really hard fought 7-game series in the ALCS where you just got beat. It'd be like, look, it just didn't roll our way. And it's going to suck. It's not a world championship, but you'd be like, at least they fought, but they got to do at least that for this season to be considered successful. And when you have that kind of expectations on you, do you really want to be like, hey, let's just give this to the kids? And what if they struggle? I don't know if they will. I don't know if they won't. Yeah. Nobody knows yet, but there's always that opportunity. There's always that chance that they don't look good. We've seen this happen with Yankees pitching prospects time and time again. And let's not forget, there's uncertainty with Nestor. There's uncertainty with Schmidt. So 3 of our 5 starters right now, there's a lot of uncertainty with, and you can even put Rodon in that category because he is coming off of that injury-plagued season, and you don't know if any of those issues will ramp up again. They should act now. And it's not anything against the guys that we have on the roster. It's just simple depth is needed right now because you're missing the best pitcher in baseball. It should be all hands on deck. So that's why I think they should still – they should have done it before the injury, but they
Yeah.
especially need to do it now.
They should have. At the end of the day, when you bring in Soto on a walk year, you don't have the luxury to wait and see. They need to be aggressive. Like there's no point. Otherwise, there's no point in acquiring Juan Soto unless you have absolute ambitions to build a monster team around him that you feel that can go all the way to a World Series. There's no point acquiring him and getting rid of a Mike King and all the players and the Drew Thorpe and all the names that we gave up. There's absolutely no point making that move unless you're going all in. So they can't afford to just be like, wait and see. 3/5 of our rotations up in the air. It's fine. Like at least 3 or 4 arms out of our bullpen is a massive question mark. One of them being our closer, and that's nothing to do with injuries, out of whether you can trust them. So there's question marks all over the pitching, and you can't really afford to have that in an all-in year. So for me, the Yankees need to be more aggressive than they have been. I'm a little surprised that they haven't once, and I gave them all the way up until now, and I'm starting to wonder. Right, come on, guys, like let's be a little more aggressive. I'm not saying like put all hands on deck. I don't think there's any reason to panic, but I think you could probably make another move or two. Get me Jordan Montgomery. Can he not sign a similar deal to Blake Snell, just with less AAV, like an opt out after opt out of 1 year? Yeah, sign him, man. Just sign him. 20 odd mil, 2-year deal, opt out after one. Both sides win. Montgomery can go and retest the market next year. Get it done, man. Like that's all I'm saying. Get it done.
And Boston
He's better
hasn't
than
shown the
Lorenzen.
willingness
He's
to
better
spend.
than Lorenzen. He's better than Lorenzen.
He's better than Lorenzen. He's better than Clevenger. He's better than the guy who nobody is signing right now, who's got to pitch in the Mexican leagues, and he's got to pay money to pitch in a try me out league. And CWE, I don't know what you're saying, y'all, because I said I would have traded Spencer Jones for Corbin Burns. I wouldn't have traded him for Dylan Cease, but I would have moved him for Burns. That was my opinion. I don't know this y'all thing, but look, they're not going to trade. They're not going to trade for a top line starter at this point. Not when you can just make the guy to get was Cease. He was the only guy to get, unless the Marlins move on from Luzardo, but they have injury question marks. So why would they move on from him when they can easily win a wild card spot in that National League? So there really are no trade options out there that would really be better than the kids. Like none of the guys you can get in a trade right now would be better than what Will Warren and Heel could possibly give you. So you might as well just go pay the money to Monty because you're familiar with him. I mean, the Giants signed Snell, so obviously they weren't that worried about when he's going to be ready. Maybe I'm sure Montgomery's been putting in the work all offseason. So let's just see. I mean, like that right now is the best option. If not, then you're looking at Lorenzen or Clevenger. And if not, then it's just going to be the kids, which there really is no wrong answer, but they should be looking to add some depth here. That's all we're saying is add some depth because there are question marks.
Facts.
So I'm looking at Cold Italian Pizza's comment here, and according to MLB, the MLB app lineup, Judge is in right field today. So he's back in the lineup, and they have him batting cleanup.
Batting cleanup, interesting.
Yeah, so the
lineup
today,
officially announced though, because I haven't.
I'm just going by what it's showing me on the game day. I hit preview on it. It's got Cabrera leading off, playing left field. I mean, let's not get him ready for third base at all. Jesus Christ. All right. Batting second is Grisham and Senna. Now this is really weird. This is not an official lineup at all.
Yeah, there's no way that's official.
Because then it goes Jahmai Jones playing left field, but they have Cabrera at left. So I don't know what the hell's going on. So maybe I don't know what they're
until the Yankee Twitter page puts it out, which I don't think they need to be putting Judge in the lineup anymore at this point. Yeah, why risk it? It's Aaron Judge.
Yeah, this looks more like who we could possibly see today. And maybe who's available today. I don't know. Well, Yeah, so that's definitely not accurate as I started really going through the names that were listed. So, because you can't have two people playing left field.
Maybe in spring training you can. You can
You never know,
pull
right?
pitchers and bring them back in. Maybe that's what they'll do next year in spring training. Have multiple guys in the outfield, 2 left fielders, 2 right fielders.
Yeah, it's
Well, I
very.
mean, let's watch Oakley Turner's comment here. I know I'm in the minority here, but my confidence level here in Central PA is still sky high. What team doesn't have injury concerns? I'm a never give up guy. This team is going to be fine and excel. Hey, man, that's. I think that's a good note to end on. We want to be positive. That's what Tats was really. I think that was the purpose of Tats' opening rant was really just to let's bring a little bit more positivity and spirit back, and let's believe in this team. And that's a pretty good note to end on.
Yeah, and the other way we're going to end it on is we said that we had some plans for the 600 subscriber mark. So now that the three of us are here, I will let you know there will be some subscriber only content. So there might be a like a post game live show. So some nights when our schedule allows it, and that will be like a subscriber only. Certain gonna get more. I'm gonna try to be more consistent throughout the year to do more of the thing I used to call quick pitches, which will be quick videos, things like that. That will also be a subscriber only video. So make sure that you guys do hit that subscribe button. And then, as the season goes on and we start really, getting the subscriber numbers up, we will announce more plans for the channel. But those are the two things that we'll be doing: pop-up live shows, like the other day when Donald, after we went live, Donald went right back into a live stream. So which we are trying to give you as much content as we can, but we also want to reward the subscribers for riding with us and give them special content as well. So that is where things sit right now. So you'll see the Chronicles quick pitch, which will be the short videos, 5 minutes or so. That will be for subscribers only, and post game live chats will be a subscriber only. So let's keep the subscriber numbers going up. You guys are killing it. So we appreciate every single one of you. So hit that like button, hit that sub button. Like I said, share this out with your friends, your family, the stranger on the corner.
Can I just jump in and say one thing, guys?
Yep.
We had well over 100 comments, I felt like 150 comments in this episode. And although we didn't get a chance to do a roll call, we love and appreciate every single one of you guys for comments. All your comments were read and appreciated, and it was an excellent chat today. Our chat was on fire. So all of y'all watching, my biggest salute to all you guys, and we'll see you on the next show.
Yep. So, and remember, wear those pinstripes your pride and play hard.